I had a chat with Patty MacDonald, who came to one of my workshops, a weekend sacred sexuality workshop back in early 2020. And he's speaking here about how that was for him, what he gained, and how it impacted him in his life. He's now working with men as a coach and going global. So let's hear from him.
I guess I had to call a whisper towards Tantra when I was in a relationship about 4 years ago and didn't feel able to explore it whilst in the relationship. And then when I left the relationship, I knew that it was something I wanted to explore. And for me personally, it was my journey with erectile dysfunction that was really like my deepest insecurity, and it was something that I just knew that if I didn't face it and find a way to reimagine my relationship with sex on the whole, that I wouldn't feel fully myself, and I'd always have this sense of inadequacy within myself. Mm. And so coming out of the relationship, I felt the freedom to explore it. And I think I saw your event on Eventbrite or somewhere, just came up and just curious. It sounded great, so I came along to it. And I remember on the weekend, like the excitement of being there and just learning all the new information and everything. But there was a moment where you were taking everyone through a process. I think we were in trios as going through like the two people giving and the one person receiving. And I looked around and noticed the intensity of everyone's experience, and how what seemed to me was happening was people were going through shamanic purging experiences, which the only other places I'd seen that happen were ayahuasca ceremonies. And for me to feel that potency when all that was happening was breath, sound, movement, touch, like that blew my mind. I'm like, wow, okay, this is possible without any substance. And like, this is what I've been looking for. Not only is this a tribe of people who are willing to go here, choosing to go here, which is what I've been looking for, but this is a path that is like, it's accessible and able to be integrated into life very powerfully. And as I've gone through the journey, I think like it was only later that I realized how fortunate I was to have you hold that space for me in my first experience to it, because I guess I've also experienced like 4 of the online festivals as well, facilitators from all over the world, all different modalities, and got so much from all of them. But like I haven't felt safer than I felt with you, and I haven't felt like more like there's been other people that have been profound, but like with you, it just felt like just so natural, and it just was easy. And that was like as a first experience, especially, but yeah, looking back, it was just really, really valuable to me. So I'm grateful to you for opening the door to the whole path, but I'm grateful that it was you as well. Like ultimately, I think the core thing that I value from the whole Tantra path, but I really got that weekend, is the embracing of the full spectrum of the human experience. And especially being, that was 3 months after ending my engagement and 7.5-year relationship, which I was holding a lot of grief around. And I think I shared at the end of that workshop, like the first chance I had to grieve that was on that weekend, really feel that come through in a communal space, and feel it come through with acceptance and love as well, which is such a healing experience. And like that's probably a great example of what I've received from the path in general, is the ability to hold all of my emotions and human experience in a lot more acceptance and appreciation. I guess like there's the people who, when it's more in the sexual space, I feel like the value that I received that I can relate to other people is bringing a deeper level of presence, embodiment, and like feeling to my interactions in that space, and then being able to really connect from that place. And when it's more from like the emotional, spiritual angle, it's that embracing, that real integrating of all parts of myself, including the ones that I've held shame and judgment around for decades, really reclaiming those parts of myself to make myself more whole moving forward. Which I think that sort of touches on the spiritual and the shamanic elements as well. Like that, for me, they're almost like the tools to have achieved that. But like the outcome was trying to avoid the word healing, but like healing, but reclaiming feels better to me. Reclaiming parts of myself and moving forward with a greater sense of wholeness. I feel so much faith now that like I can have like I'll never have an issue finding a relationship, which was such a huge insecurity for me not that long ago before your workshop. That's been such a massive shift. I feel a huge amount of faith that like whatever happens is happening for me. Like every single experience is so meant to be. So like my trust in the universe and my sense of faith has been strengthened exponentially. And that's giving me the strength and the confidence to take these leaps of faith, which like are still scary, but like I'm able to do them to larger degrees, which is helping me do things like start my own business, leave the high paid, high status corporate role to start again, leave behind a brilliant community and friends and family in Melbourne, Australia, to just get a one-way ticket. Like these are things that like there wasn't even a question, even though the fear's there. It's like, okay, cool, yeah, of course I'm going to do that because it's feeling like the call. And so the ability to listen to the call is much stronger than it ever has been. And it was, I'd say, almost like it was only a whisper back before meeting you and doing your work. So what's possible from here? Literally anything, right?
I do query how much of that is actually me and how much of it is actually about you. However, yeah, and it is about resonance too of how much are you willing to receive? How much are you willing to step into the fire kind of thing, or step across that threshold and step away from safety, everything that we've known, and that takes courage, and you've got courage and heart and bucket loads. So amazing. Thank you so much for taking the time.
It's been actually quite fun to revisit the journey. So
yeah, it's incredible. It blows my mind. Yeah, it really does.
2020, like so 2.5 years ago.
Yeah, just the world went upside down, and you just it was your time. It was your time.
Yeah. A lot of our communities as well, which has been exciting to see. But like again, this is like, sure, it was a lot of our community's time, but I feel like the reason like we were able to navigate it with the greater degree of acceptance was because a lot of the tools we were learning and a lot of the mindsets that are being passed down from people like yourself. So hence the amount of gratitude I feel is I went through a period of what for most people that I know was extreme challenge and got to experience so much beauty and transformation through that time.